Hello and welcome to the chapters of Think Big, the famous book on motivation and leadership written by me. I'm Dr. Ambika Prasad Gaur, and today we'll discuss about chapter number 4. The topic of the chapter is Know the God's Wish and Accept Your Limitations. Dear friends, one thing is quite clear in life, that there are certain things which are not under our control. So those particular things are directly under the control of the Almighty. So we need not be that much bothered about those particular things. There are certain things which are beyond our control. It is clearly said in the Hamlet by William Shakespeare that there are more things between heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamed of in a philosophy. That means there are certain things which we cannot imagine, but they happen, and that is the God's wish. The famous actor Amitabh Bachchan has once said in one of the interviews that when he was struggling after completing his graduation and he was not able to get a suitable job, he wanted a small job, so he was not able to get even that job. So he went to his father, who was working as professor in the University of Allahabad, Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji. So Harivansh Rai Bachchan motivated Amitabh Bachchan by saying कि यदि कुछ तुम्हारे मन का होता है तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, लेकिन अगर तुम्हारे मन का नहीं होता है तो और भी अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि वो ईश्वर के मन का है. So please go through the chapter Know the God's Wish and Accept Your Limitations. I hope you will definitely like this, and please do share it in case if you like. And at the same time, I would like to request you to be frank enough to let me know in case if there is any area of improvement. So thank you very much and have a great reading ahead. If God has meant us to fly, He would have given us wings, goes one old saying. Absolutely true. Fantabulous. Human beings generally don't learn lessons from somebody else's misfortunes, at times not even from their own tribulations. They keep repeating their mistakes without realizing that they are probably not meant for the place they want to be at. Either there is a miscalculation of their strengths or they are influenced by somebody else. Whatever may be the motivation, but the end result is disastrous. Some of the people may still be possessed with that old and time-tested formula of hard work never goes unrewarded, but not keeping in mind the fact that the sojourns to the Himalayas cannot be undertaken by following the course of the Ganges downwards. It has to be an upward journey. So the underlying fact is the direction of our efforts should be proper. There is but the need to be under constant guidance of the God who is guiding us through our self-consciousness. Or on many occasions, our conscience forbids us to do something which our heart and mind earnestly ask us to do. The message is clear. The Almighty, who is omnipresent and omniscient, keeps on guiding us in our deeds and words. We often tend to get depressed when the things or events don't go our way, but we fail to understand the hidden message which says that unpleasant or unfortunate event wants to convey. We often tend to get depressed when the things or events don't go our way, but we fail to understand the hidden message which that unpleasant or unfortunate event wants to convey. One day, out at the backyard of our house, under the grapevine where I was practicing yoga in the morning as my regular routine, I noticed a nest just above my head. Holding my breath in Anulom, I stood up to see a nightingale, which is a red-bottomed bulbul, covering the nest with its wings wide spread. At the first instance, I wanted to drive the bird away to see what the bird was hiding under it, eggs or small birdies. But the good sense prevailed on me and I went back to my yoga practice and then forgot it for the day. Another Monday, before starting my practice, I stood up and found two small birdies sleeping in the nest. On my slightest cuddling, up came the wide opened beaks of the small blind creatures, the mouths as wide opened as the size of their bodies. But when nothing was put inside their mouths, they hurriedly huddled down, pretending to be dead or breathless. What a natural talent of defending themselves against the lurking dangers. Anyways, within 10-11 days, the birdies had grown their wings, ready to take a flight. The very next day, when I wanted to sit for practicing yoga, I saw one birdie lying under my feet and the other sitting pretty at the branch of the grapevine. When I wanted to catch it, it flew away. Then, as I wanted to pick up the first birdie, I saw the parent birds shouting at me, even trying to hit me with their beaks. When I could not be frightened by them to keep away from the small birds, one of the parents fell down near me, pretending to be limping, and the other helping to let the birdie fly. Neither did I catch the parent bird, nor could the birdie fly that day. When the evening came, I saw the parent birds feeding the birdie and escorting it to a corner of the lawn. Finally, when the night fell, I caught hold of the birdie and put it back in the nest, making sure that the praying cats do not devour it at night. No sooner did I put it in the nest than it jumped out of the nest with a thud. I tried to ensure its safety umpteen times, but failed in all attempts. I then left it to its fate, covering it with twigs and dry leaves. The next morning, when I searched for it, it had disappeared without any trace, but the parent birds chirping angrily over my head. Alas, had it tried to understand what my intentions were and why I wanted it to be back in the nest, its life would have been saved. It is a pity that neither birds nor human beings try to understand the underlying message that the Almighty wants to convey us through the unpleasant or unfortunate situations. Here is a story of a horse which was not satisfied with whatever the God has provided it in its beauty. The horse, like all human beings, yearned for what it had not, ignoring what it actually possessed. A cosmic God had a horse. The horse was beautiful and also it had many good qualities, but it wanted to be more perfect in every way. It especially wanted to become beauty unparalleled. One day, the horse said to the cosmic God, "O Lord, you have given me beauty, you have given me other good qualities. I am so grateful to you. But now I wish you could make me more beautiful. I would be extremely grateful if you could make me more beautiful." The cosmic God said, "I am more than ready to make you more beautiful. Tell me in what way you want to be changed." The horse said, "It seems to me that I am not well proportioned. My neck is too short. If you can make my neck a little longer, my upper body will be infinitely more beautiful. And if you can make my legs much longer and thinner, then I will look infinitely more beautiful in my lower body. The cosmic God said, Amen. Then immediately he made a camel appear in the place of the horse. The horse was so disheartened that it started to cry, Oh Lord, I wanted to become more beautiful. In what way is this kind of outer form more beautiful? The cosmic God said, This is exactly what you asked for. You have become a camel now. The horse cried, Oh no, I do not want to become a camel. I wish to remain a horse. As a horse, everybody appreciated my good qualities. Nobody will appreciate me as a camel. The cosmic God said, Never try to achieve or receive more than I have given you. If you want to lead a desired life, then at every moment you will want more and more. But you have no idea what the outcome will be. If you cry for a longer neck and legs, this is what will happen. Each thing in my creation has its own good qualities. The camel is not as beautiful as you are, but it carries heavy loads and has a tremendous sense of responsibility. It is a hard and heartening fact that most of us don't want to introduce our kith and kin, even parents with some ugly features, to anybody. We even shy away from their company in public. This is all because we don't want to be inferior in others' opinion. This hurts our inflated ego. This is a great mental malady by which almost entire humanity is suffering. We cannot have another pair of parents than the Almighty has given us. It cannot be by choice. We have to accept this fact sooner than later. Now, just go through the following heart-rending story of a lad in his own words. Once there was a poor widow with one eye only. She cooked for students and teachers to support her 5 kids. Her eldest son was studying in the same elementary school in which she worked. She was an embarrassment to the boy. One day during school, she went inside the boy's classroom to say hello to him. He was embarrassed. How could she do this to me? The boy thought. He ignored her, threw at her a hateful look, and ran out. The next day at school, one of the classmates of the boy said, Eee, your mom only has one eye. The boy wanted to bury himself. He also wanted his mom to just disappear. He confronted her that day and said, If you are only going to make me a laughing stock, why don't you just die? The poor mother did not respond. The boy didn't even stop to think for a second about what he had said because he was full of anger. He wanted to go out of that house and have nothing to do with her. So he studied real hard and got a chance to go abroad to study. Then he got married and bought a house of his own. He had kids of his own and was happy with his life, kids, and the comforts. Then one day, his mother came to visit him. She hadn't seen her son for many years and didn't even meet her grandchildren. When she stood by the door, her grandchildren laughed at her and her son yelled at her for coming over uninvited. He screamed at her, How dare you come to my house and scare my children? Get out of here now. And to this, the mother quietly answered, Oh, I am so sorry. I might have got the wrong address, and disappeared out of sight. One day, a letter regarding a school reunion came to the boy's house. So he lied to his wife that he was going on a business trip. After the reunion, he went to his old house just out of curiosity. His neighbors informed him of her death. He did not shed a single tear. They handed him a letter that she had written for her son. My dearest son, I think of you all the time. I am sorry that I came to your house and scared your children. I was so glad when I heard you were coming for the reunion. But I may not be able to even get out of bed to see you. I am sorry that I was a constant embarrassment to you when you were growing up. You see, when you were very little, you got into an accident and lost your eye. As a mother, I couldn't stand watching you having to grow up with one eye only, so I gave you mine. I was so proud of my son who was seeing a whole new world for me in my place with that eye. With all my love to you, your mother.